Welcome into episode 2 of Sports Divided College Pick'em, presented by Mamas on the Hill. Week 1 is full swing tomorrow. Yeah, how about that week 0 games? You guys both 1-3 on the season, losing a lot of juice, minus 2.2 units, and then I myself, not great at all. 3-5 and minus 2.5 units.
I mean, I can start that first half under. Who knew that Florida State had an NFL kicker? That was a bomb. I got to give it to him. But man, that was heartbreaking.
Who knew that Georgia Tech just couldn't line up in front of the lineman on the extra point? Like, they still just sat there like it was, they're just gonna come over like they always do, and then
my favorite part about week 0 is always the after the first drive of the game, whenever someone goes down and scores. This is the greatest team ever, right? Florida State looked like they're going to win 40-0. I thought my Georgia Tech plus 10.5 pick was dead, skunk. Then all of a sudden they just quit using their Jalen Lucas. They just quit giving him the ball. He disappeared for the rest of the game. And then I guess Florida State just forgot how to play defense. They just got mauled at the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, I mean, looking ahead to them, they probably got 3 or 4 losses on that schedule now this year, I think. I mean, obviously they'll probably win this week against BC, but that's a tough matchup for them. I mean, their quarterback, BC's quarterback, is more of a dual threat than what Georgia Tech had in Haynes King. So, I mean, that's a tough matchup for them there, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But whoop, what a performance by Florida State. Imagine being a fan of Florida State and going all the way over to Ireland and spending money and getting your ass kicked and then having to sit there and drink Guinness beer for 24 more hours.
Hey, what's wrong with Guinness?
I mean, just I would not want to go to Ireland and watch, my team get their ass kicked for 4 hours and then have to fly back.
Did anybody see the meme going around with Moneyball and DJ Uiagalelei?
Yes, that was funny.
Oh, Adam did not. So it's got Jonah Hill, the person he plays in Moneyball, and then Brad Pitt sitting there in the office when he's going over like the Chad Bradford stuff with he's got the standings in front of him, but it says, Billy, this is DJ Uiagalelei. He's built like a linebacker with speed and athleticism of a running back. He's the ultimate quarterback weapon. His only defect is in 1904 the forward pass was invented.
Yeah, you can't throw the ball.
What was the stat? He was 19 for 23 in the first half with negative 0.1 air yards on the passes.
Yeah, it was bad. Very bad.
But is that more of a DJ problem, or is that more of a Florida State lack of confidence in him problem?
I can take that one because I'm lucky enough to have my boss be a big Florida State fan. So he walks into the office Monday morning and you just know he's going to be pissed off. It's just a matter of how pissed off, how much money he lost. And then, of course, he starts off with DJ U's the worst. DJ U can't throw the ball. DJ U sucks. Why are we throwing this guy out there? But, I mean, he hasn't proven that he's anything different. He's been doing this for how many years now, no matter what team he plays for. I think he is who he is. He was scared to run. He can't take shots downfield. He's scared to run. And when the game gets into crunch time, he's gonna blow it. So I don't know. Is it a level of concern? Probably. But are they screwed? Probably not. I don't know.
DJU he's not good. I mean, how many more times do schools have to try and do this? Clemson first. I mean, he was average. Then he goes over to Oregon State. He was average. He had a good supporting cast around him with a good running back that made him look a little bit better. And I mean, when a guy's transferred like there's so many times at some point you just have to realize what he is. He's not good. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're in trouble moving forward here the rest of the year.
So, question I have about him is he where he's at right now at Florida State if he did not have the game against Notre Dame on November 7th during COVID in 2020 when he threw for, 439, 5 touchdowns total, or 5 total touchdowns in the one COVID game that Trevor Lawrence missed? Like, is he there? Does he ever go to Oregon State? Does he ever whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, because he's a high profile recruit. I mean, he's a 5-star recruit, one of the top quarterbacks in his class. So yeah, I mean, you're never going to give up on a guy. I mean, look at Kelly Bryant's situation whenever he went to Mizzou. Mizzou gave him a chance to come in and play, and it didn't exactly work out. So yeah, I mean, or another one. Look at JT Daniels. That guy's been in college since I was born.
Well,
getting an education. It's important.
I mean, how long was Jaden Daniels in college?
I mean, he was a 5-year guy, but I mean, that guy, he could at least show that he could at least play.
Oh, I know. JT's he was at USC, and then Georgia, and then West Virginia. And was he Houston last year?
Rice.
Or was he SM Rice? That's where it was. That guy, bounces around.
Let's get into the important stuff. The best week of the year is back, boys.
Hey, can I at least give a shout out to my boys at Nevada?
Adam, it wasn't Nevada.
Why are you in such a rush?
You had New Mexico.
I want to give a shout out to Nevada. I want to put my hand up and say, you know what? I called you guys losers, but I apologize. I hope I motivate them. I'm sure they played the clip in the locker room. I'm sure that they were pissed off when I called them losers and loser attitude, loser mentality. So, hey, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said all that. But yeah, and the main takeaway that I have from that game is that SMU looked awful. You were on them big. You loved them.
Yeah, I did.
Are you concerned about the year?
I mean, it was just they spit on another guy. They were just so undisciplined. I had no idea what the hell was going on. They changed the quarterback in the middle of the game. I know you said he was going to play more than 10 snaps. I went back and looked, and I saw he played 13 snaps in the first half. So your research was right there. I have to apologize there. But I mean, what are they doing?
You're a guy who's been spit on. What's that feel like?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good feeling. That game really irritated the shit out of me. Another one that was frustrating was the Montana State game. New Mexico had no business being in that game at all. They had two I think defensive touchdowns that game. I think they outgained them 4-1 in yards. So I don't know. It was a frustrating week, that was for sure.
Week 0 is always tough. If I'm looking at this right, underdogs were 4-0 and the under went 3-1. I think that's right.
Yeah, I think it says. I think it's going to come into this week too. I mean, it's just hard because you don't have a lot of data on these teams, so you're doing research about what they have coming back. You're kind of making a projection on where they're going to be. So, I really think these first couple weeks are just feeling it out. Now, when I mean feeling it out, am I going to have 20 plus bets? Yeah, of course I am. But yeah, so more to come there. But I'm fired up. I'm fired up for week 1.
I think you said last week that you were looking at teams that played week 0 compared to teams that are that haven't played a game yet. Have you thought more about that idea in terms of betting?
Yeah, I looked, and the only one that we really have that I saw that had lines out for was Florida State right now. That is nothing I'm going to touch with a 10-foot pole this week. I'll tell you that.
I did hear something that I don't know, maybe you agree or disagree, but maybe a disadvantage that when you do play week 0 that you have tape and film out there on you, and if you haven't played, you don't. So I don't know, just something to think about.
Yeah, Yeah, I could see that. So.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the true test comes, or not the true test, the true backing or, examples come after this week when you see what Florida State does against Boston. Like, it's those teams that have already played, like how less rusty they might look. That's where you might be able to pick up on it a little bit more. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I said last week, I took Nevada because I just thought maybe they would throw in a touchdown or two at the end of a game to get it within the 25. Did not think at the 3-minute mark of the game I would be sitting there thinking like, oh, Nevada might actually just win this outright.
It wasn't pretty, I'll tell you that.
And then you're begging for a score, so the over hits, just nail biters left and right. Except the only real nail biter that I bet that, or the only bet I had that wasn't a nail biter was Florida State team total of 33.5 over. Like, I didn't think it was going to be a question after the first drive, like you were saying, Tyler. But then at halftime, I'm like, oh, they're not even going to come close to this. But
yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. We turn our attention to week 1. We got 6 games that we're all picking. And then we got a lot coming your way. And then after that, it's a free-for-all. And we'll just see how many bets everybody has. Game 1, Thursday night, Huntington Bank Stadium, Minneapolis, Minnesota. 7 p.m. kickoff on Fox. North Carolina travels to the Golden Gophers. UNC -2 on the money line, or on the spread, over under 50.5. Unless it has updated. But that was the last thing I saw. So let's go, Adam. What do you?
So usually I lean when we were doing a football team versus a basketball team. I always lean to take the football team. Now that we're talking basketball versus a hockey school, I'm kind of lost. But we're looking at 2 teams, both with new starting quarterbacks, both teams with new D coordinators. Mac Brown dealing with 2 quarterbacks, so you come into play with, you got 2 quarterbacks, you have 0 quarterbacks, do you have 1 quarterback? Who knows? So the last I heard was Minnesota has a wide receiver that's out. I don't know if anybody can confirm that. It looks like the line kind of suggests that. But really, I don't know what Minnesota is going to be able to do on offense. I think this is going to be a run-heavy game. Clock's going to be running. I'm taking the, unless you can get something better than 50.5, I'm taking the under.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
The under.
Okay.
All right. There's 3 things certain in life: death, taxes, and the Thursday night home dog, Minnesota +2. Along with that, UNC's downgrading at QB, plus a new defensive coordinator and staff on that side of the ball. I mean, you want to go back to talking about transfers that have been passed around. Max Johnson from LSU to A&M, now on to UNC. I'm not real high on him anyway. I remember one time at LSU, he literally was getting sacked and threw the ball behind his back against UCLA. That game haunted me for a couple weeks. But yeah, I'm just not. It's more of a play against UNC. Now, if I can take the extra points here, give me Minnesota here. I'll take the Fighting PJ Flex, returning 16 starters from last year's 6 and 17. So maybe a little bit more experience there. So yeah, give me the Gophers.
You can check on that wide receiver for me. I might be on with you, but if Minnie does nobody to throw to, I don't know if I can be on that. But maybe look into that for me and get back to me.
All right, more to come.
So Tyler.
Yes.
I'm with you with Minnesota +2. I actually have Minnesota on the money line also.
Now we're talking.
Because Minnesota is 19th in the country at 71% of their total production coming back from last year.
Yep.
Now, granted, they lose quarterback, but you can also say they might have upgraded quarterback, bringing in Max Rosmer from UNH, New Hampshire, transfer, where he threw in his 4 years so far, 8,467 yards, 68 touchdowns, only 25 picks. So roughly 2.75 touchdowns to every pick he throws. And he was the number one transfer quarterback outside of him, a guy that was not a five-star coming into college.
Yep.
That being said, also, I just think, there's something about a night game in Minnesota to open the season. Like that's going to be, whether they win, they're over on season total of 6, whatever. Just that setting, Big Ten, ACC's going up to the Big Ten doesn't usually play out too well. And I just like to row the boat with PJ Fleck all the time.
And just Thursday night home dogs, Death Texas Thursday night home dogs.
Oh, and throw the over in there too.
Okay. If you are UNC though, it's much better to go to Minnesota this week than say December, or maybe not.
I mean, realistically, it's Minnesota in
November,
end of August. It could still be 35 degrees at night.
That's true.
But so Tyler, back to the point of why the over. North Carolina averaged 34.5 points last year, but their defense gave up 27.5 points. And they bring back 8 defensive starters. So they didn't exactly upgrade too much on a porous defense anyways.
Yeah, I just like I'm more of a play against UNC here, new defensive staff. Mac Brown's just throwing, shit at the wall this year. I'm looking here. There could be an issue here. We got some bad weather rolling through Minnesota tomorrow. They're concerned if it's going to be a quick storm moving through them. We're concerned if they're going to start the game in a delay, or if they're going to try to start the game and then potentially have it stopped in the middle. So that'll be a thing to track there.
Tick, 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 tick. Just another reason why I like the under.
Thank you, Weatherman.
You're welcome. Thanks, William.
But so what weather? Because the only reason I asked is because when I was doing the research on ESPN, it says game time weather is sunny and 81.
I'm just doing some research on. I'm doing a little research on the Minnesota Gophers message boards. So
Gopher talk, huh?
Gopher report. It's the Gopher report. Yeah.
So our Mizzou, our Golden.
Yep. So we'll see.
All right. Anybody else? Anything else on that game? Anybody got any other sprinklings?
No,
I'm always curious to see what UNC.
Adam, that minus that over under first half total is 24.5. You want that again?
No. Who knows what's going to happen to start? But I'm always curious to see, being a gear guy, what UNC pulls out first game. They always got some crazy gear, so we'll see what they pull out of the locker room.
Well, I'm sure it'll have a Jordan Flare.
73 degrees at kickoff. 73 degrees at kickoff with a 50% chance of rain. So
okay, so ESPN isn't good at weather. Noted.
Yep. And under PJ Fleck, Minnesota is 5-2 in season openers.
Telling you, PJ Fleck, throw the boat, baby. All right, game 2, 11 a.m. kickoff at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, on ABC. The Clemson Tigers and the Georgia Bulldogs. Adam,
is ETN playing? Heard rumors that he's not. I think that's going to be huge. So,
you on message boards? Where are you getting all this stuff?
I heard it all day today. I heard ETN's questionable to play. So, obviously Georgia's O-line's probably the staple of the team. I think if Georgia wins this game, Carson Beck's probably the favorite to win the Heisman after week 1. I'm leaning towards Georgia. just because they just always seem to be better than everybody else. At least that's what people will tell you. Clemson was 121st in explosive plays. They averaged 3.9 points per red zone possession. Horrible. Couldn't get anything done in the red zone last year. The only way I think that they can keep this close is if they capitalize on some mistakes. Georgia typically doesn't make mistakes, so if Georgia can get this into a shootout, I don't see how Clemson can stay in this game. Cade Klubnik, right? I pronounced that right? QB, Clemson?
Cade Klubnik.
Who knows? Klubnik. I mean, if he plays stellar out of his mind, who knows? Maybe they have a chance. The running back for Clemson is he's 230, big fella. They're probably going to run the ball a shit ton, but I think Georgia just has the firepower. I think Georgia wins. What's the line?
-13. So I forgot. That's what I forgot. I was going to wait till you're done, but Georgia -13.5 over under 48.
Yeah, give me Georgia in the points.
Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to go to a side here, I'd probably maybe lean Georgia, but I'm going to take the under in this game. I'm on the side part. I don't want to get in front of Georgia. The last time these two teams played in an opener, the score was 10-3, and the only touchdown that was scored was a defensive touchdown. I think there's a huge mismatch here in talent with what Georgia has in the defensive backfield compared to what Clemson has at wide receiver. On top of that, I do not trust Cade Klubnik at all. I fell for it last year. I bet on him to win the Heisman. I bet on Clemson to make a run at the national championship. Got embarrassed in their opener against Duke, I want to say. And then, I just can't get over Dabo just refuses to adjust in today's college football.
No transfer portal, right?
Yeah, he doesn't want to utilize the portal. He's not going to. Yeah. So yeah, that if I had to play a side, had to gun to my head, I'm going to take Georgia. I'm not confident in it, but I think this is going to be a low scoring game. Carson Beck is going to finish the year in New York as a Heisman candidate. Big on him. So it was really big for Georgia to get him back this year and keep him out of the draft. So like I said, I don't have a confident pick on the side, but I am going to take the under for the total.
The Clemson running back Phil Maffa is the running back's name. Big fella.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of supports your they're going to run the ball. Clock's going to tick. Probably good for the under, but keep an eye out for Phil Maffa.
So, Tyler, you made a comment earlier when you said JT Daniels has been in college since you were born. Was this all a long play to bring up that game of the 10-3 game? Because DJU and JT Daniels were the quarterbacks of that 10-3 game.
Yeah, I was a little foreshadowing there.
DJ went 19 for 37 for 178 yards, 1 interception. JT Daniels went 22 of 30 for 135 and 1 interception. And the 73-yard defensive interception return by Chris Smith for Georgia happened 2 minutes into the second quarter. And then there was only a field goal in the third quarter, a field goal in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
That game was in good old Charlotte. So for me, I struggle not so much with the side, but looking at it and just kind of saying, if I take a side at -13, I don't know how the over doesn't happen, because I think either Georgia somehow doesn't play well, it stays close the whole time, or Georgia just blows Clemson out, even though I said Clemson could have the Heisman Trophy winner last week on long shot wise, not actual guy who I think might win it, but a long shot bet. But it's a long season that you can recover from week one. So I'll take Georgia -13.5 and the over of 48. Georgia averages 50. Like, if you have a game, their average games are 56.7 points, and Clemson's are 49.7. So both average Over.
Okay.
So
I don't mind.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't get in front of Georgia at all. So, but
Hey, just keep in mind,
We'll see.
ETN, I'm just telling you, there's rumors out there. If he's not 100%, maybe Clemson has a chance. I'm leaning towards the other way, but I just want the listeners to know out there that there's rumors swirling.
All right. Game 3. Maybe the best game we got. Sorry, no offense to the Sunday game we'll talk about. But 11 a.m. also on Fox in Morgantown, West Virginia. Penn State travels to the Mountaineers. Penn State is a 8-point road favorite, over under 51.5. Adam, go ahead, Mr. Big Ten, get us started.
Yeah, my biggest question is what's the Penn State offense going to look like? Many people are saying that they can take a step forward. Drew Aller, another year, maybe get something done. They got the Ohio State transfer, wide receiver, that kind of helps make plays, explosive plays. I believe Penn State has a new D coordinator in. They got the 2 edge rushers, but we all know West Virginia is tough to play. But really, the quarterback of West Virginia, Garrett Green, he either throws it deep, he throws screens. I think Penn State's defense is going to be able to play with those, if that's going to be the play call. Penn State's got the athletes. I think it's going to be tight going into the fourth quarter. But I do have a stat for you for Penn State. Penn State spreads between 7 as favorites, between 7 and 24. Penn State 16-0-1 covering those games with that spread. So I'm going to take the Nittany Lions. What was the number? -8?
8. Yeah.
Yep. Give me that. Maybe. Yeah. Fuck the hook. I'll take 8.
Get a buy half point.
No, we're not buying. I should have said this. You can't take a bet that's more than -135. Just so we're out there.
-8 Penn State. I just think, maybe Drew Aller is a real deal. We'll see.
Tyler.
Yeah, like I'm pretty high on Penn State this year. I'd be even higher on them if they had a different quarterback. I'm not a fan of Drew Aller at all. But the defense will be good. They brought over a new offense coordinator as well from Kansas, which should be an upgrade from them last year. I just need to see more offense out of them, maybe more of a potent offense. They lose tight end Theo Johnson, but they also had, as Adam mentioned, Julian Fleming. Wide receiver room needed some juice, so hopefully he can help. We'll see if Aller can even get him the ball. But Neil Brown last year, he was kind of on the hot seat going into the year. Turns it around, wins 9 games for West Virginia. We could see a slight pullback in them this year. But that's, big reason on that is they play a pretty tough schedule. I think it's the hardest rated schedule in the Big 12. But they return their QB, top 2 running backs, and 8 total starters from last year's offense. A little worried about the defense with only 5 starters returning. But I was doing some research, and Neil Brown's pretty high on the front 7 that they have coming in this year. Most importantly, I think it's going to be a very difficult environment in Morgantown. Place is going to be rocking at 11 a.m. I had a little nudge on this bet. My pal Kyle Leslie was big on the Mountaineers, so I'm going to jump on along with him. He told me, don't be surprised if we see Pat McAfee come in late, down a putt inside the 5 to seal the game, to seal the cover at least. They might even win here, but I'm going to take West Virginia and the points.
All right, so Penn State, when it comes to meaningful snaps on the defense, returns 87.9% of tackles, 86.7% of pressures, 80.5% of defensive pass breakups. They were the number 1 defense in the country last year when it comes to yards per game, 23.3 yards given up. Only gave up, on average, 153 yards through the air, 69 rushing yards, and 11.4 points per game. So I mean, let's be real. It's Big 10 versus Big 12. Defense wins in the Big 10. So give me the Mountaineers money line plus the points and the under of 51.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Play the fight song.
Wow.
Play the fight song.
James Franklin, this is the one. This is going to be the one. They're number 8 in the country, and they can't get the first win because guess what happens? He just can't win enough to stay relevant. So now he's got to stay outside of the top 14 instead of just being outside the top 10. So he's got to lose an extra game.
Huh. I mean, he was 10-3 last year.
And lost both his big games that he needed to win.
If last year had this year's playoff system, Penn State would have been in the playoffs.
But that's what I'm saying. So he's got to be just outside, which means he's got to lose to West Virginia on an 11 a.m. kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that saves Penn State here is that it's an 11 a.m. kickoff, not a night game. But I still think that this is probably one of the biggest games that's been at West Virginia, non-conference games, obviously, in a long time. And that's another thing. I love when we see these non-conference games when they don't play at a neutral site.
Right.
Go play at the team stadium. I hate that. But yeah, you make Phil Steele has Penn State's defense, the defensive line, his number 2 rated defensive line in the country, number 6 linebacker core, and the number 9 secondary. So yeah, that's gonna be a good defense. So I agree with your under there. But
I realistically took West Virginia because the under is because of Penn State, and then West Virginia's win because I got burned by Drew Allen in the offense last year several times.
That's
so
fair.
I just don't think he's it's only his second year. He seems like a normal Penn State guy, minus McSorley, a guy who can't win and can't drive a team down in the crunch time and even pick up a field goal to win a game. So if this was maybe 6.5, maybe in my mind, I just think 8 over a little bit more than a touchdown screams it's a weird line when it comes to number 8 team in the country going to a non-ranked team, a West Virginia team that had been the second to worst team in the Big 10 or Big 12 for the 2 years prior to last year. It seems like that line should be closer to 10 then, but it's not. I don't know. And then what was it? Let me see. There was a the betting
another thing.
The betting trend on this is why I went money line.
Oh Lord.
So 82% of the bets are on Penn State money line. 12% of the money, 60% gap. That's one when you look and you're like, oh, the Sharks are out on this game big time.
Yeah, they. I mean, the good thing that Neil Brown has done there is he's kept all of his coordinators there. So, both co-DCs are entering their 3rd and 4th year. And look at what they've done. Look what they did from year over year. So in 2022, they allowed 412 yards per game, just at 33 points per game given up. And last year they improved that to 381 yards per game given up to 26 points per game. So, I mean, if they continue to see the trend go down there, I agree. I think it's I think it's really hard to go on the road like that in week 1 and cover a pretty significant number. So, but I do like Penn State overall. I just think it's a kind of a tough spot for them. So.
I think we're all in.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You're good.
I think we're all in agreement that the game's going to be close in the 4th quarter. What I'm picturing is Penn State's probably up by a touchdown going into either last drive, second to last drive. They get a turnover, they end up kicking a field goal, and they kind of get that late cover. So that's kind of what I had. I think it's going to be close. But again, I think that defense that you guys mentioned could get a turnover and a score late just to get that field goal to cover.
So I forgot to bring this up too. So Tyler, to the point, going back to Minnesota, when you talked about Thursday dogs,
yeah,
right? Again, same betting trend here. UNC outright win 56% of the bet, but only 24% of the money. Those are the ones that I've learned to monitor. And when you see something like that, it's the old adage from our our favorite Tim McKernan that says he's got a loyalty to his family to take that bet because something's up.
I like that. Someone's got to pay the bills,
So,
right?
Yeah. Well, when there's when you can see that the sharps are out on one thing, as opposed to the general public.
The public's typically dumb.
Yes. I mean, his big thing is fade the public, fade the public, fade the public, and especially if it's I think his number is like if it's more than a 25% difference between betting total and money. If the money is 20% more one way than the other, it's usually a fiscal responsibility bet is what he calls it. All right, Game 4, the Battle of the Sunshine State down in Gainesville. The Swamp will be rocking at 2:30 on ABC as Miami comes to town. Miami minus 2.5 on the road, over under 53.5. We'll change it up. Tyler, go first.
Florida plus 2.5 in the money line.
Oh,
yep. Okay.
You believe in Billy Napier?
Yeah, the Canes are returning 15 starters and they bring in Cam Ward at quarterback, which is a big pickup for them. I like his ability to make plays. This will probably be the best offense under Cristobal that they've had. Miami also did a pretty good job in the portal. They brought in the running back from Oregon State and the top wide receiver from Houston. But it's going to be a tall task going into the Swamp. Billy Napier, this is probably the biggest game of his Florida career. A loss could set this season off the rails really quick. Look back at I think it was Billy Napier's first year. They were playing Utah at home. Utah was a ranked team coming into the Swamp. Florida wins there. Not to mention Graham Mertz was pretty much left for dead at Wisconsin, and Billy Napier did a pretty nice job with him last year. He's back. They're returning 14 starters. Schedule's very, very tough, but a majority of their tough games are at home. Look for them to take care of business here. Won't back down. It's going to be blaring from the speakers at the stadium. I'm going to be holding up my fours in the Circus Stadium swim pool as Florida wins this one. It's going to be tight, but yeah, I got them covering the 2.5 and winning outright.
That was good. I have a lot of those same points, but like you said, it's going to be close. So I'm not too confident on the side. Miami has high expectations. I think this is if they win this game, and depending on how the rest of the ACC pans out with Florida State losing, and if UNC losing, if that happens. So, Miami could set themselves up in a pretty good spot with a win over Florida. Cam Ward, electric, prone to make mistakes. Miami was 157th in the nation in turnovers. He obviously has a lot more talent around him this year. Better roster, or what you said, Tyler. So I feel more confident in Cam Ward, but Billy Napier has a chip on his shoulder. He's got a job to play for. This is a big game for him. I don't think I'm not leaning one way or the other, so I'm going to take the under 53.5. I think in the Swamp, you got to stretch extra. You got to hydrate extra. It's just a tough game. I'm going to go with the under. I think those rival games, everybody plays a little more conservative, scared to make mistakes. So I'm taking the under 53.5.
Adam, you realize Miami's also in Florida, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like Florida's, but it's extra hot in the Swamp. Extra muggy. Extra hydration. What do they say? Where was Gatorade created? Sure. They might have the upper edge.
I just wanted to make sure. That's all. It's just a question.
You think you're going to sneak that past Adam with those stats?
Come on, man.
Graham Mertz, I think, sucks. I think Florida's offense sucks. Yeah. Yes.
Hold on. I don't want to get yelled at for flipping my pages. Let me mute my screen so I can go give you some stats here. Hold on.
Florida's offense last year averaged 28.4 points and gave up 27.6. And we all say Florida's got a good defense. So if they're only averaging one more point than they are as a good defense giving up. I don't think they have a good offense.
And they lost a running back.
They have the least amount of returning meaningful snaps at the wide receiver position. 7% on the wide receiver returning list. Plain and simple. So give me the under. And I think just because it's less than a field goal, I'll take Miami minus 2.5. If it was 3.5, maybe Florida. But I could see this being now I'm not saying I fully buy in on Miami with Cam Ward, at least game 1. Maybe ask me week 4, week 5. But I could see this being a 17 game. I could see it being a 24-21 game in overtime. And there's your 3 points.
Okay, hold on. Graham Mertz last year, 73% completion percentage, 20 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
Okay. You know how many of those were little screen dump-offs to whatever the guy's name was from Arizona State, Ricky Pascal or whatever his name was? Or screen passes.
Ricky Pearsall.
Or screens to ETN.
All right. I agree to disagree. I respect your opinion, but I hate it.
They literally bring back the lowest, like I said, the lowest receiving and the third lowest amount of meaningful snaps at running back.
Yeah, no, they lost. 18%. Yeah, they lost their tight end, but they got some transfers that they brought in. So, brought in a guy from Wisconsin. They brought in another receiver from Arizona State. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. But I think it's a tough place to play. I mean, it's gonna be. I think it's. You said the West Virginia Penn State game was one of the better games. I think this might be the game of the day, outside of the next one that we're talking about next.
Yeah, that's gonna be the real game of the day.
Okay.
But no. So also betting trends, right? 51% of bets is on Miami minus 2.5. 48% of the money is on Miami minus 2.5. 72% is on Miami straight up. 96 bets, 96% of the money is on Miami straight up. And then here's where this comes into me and Adam's play on the under. 59% of bets is set for the over, while only 39% of the money is on the over.
I like that.
So.
Sometimes the public gets one right, though. Hopefully not today.
Sometimes I thank God.
Not many though. All right, we'll go from what might be the lowest scoring game we just talked about out of the 6 to maybe the highest scoring game when you have 2 defensive coaches in when you got defensive coaching like Mike Elko, Texas A&M, and Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. The Irish travel to the Aggies. College game day, ABC, Kyle Field, 6:30 kickoff. Notre Dame +3 on the road. Over under 46.5. Who wants it first?
Go ahead, man. I know what you're going to start with, Notre Dame's youth on the O-line, but go ahead.
I'm taking Notre Dame +3 here. I've seen a lot of sharp people out there say they're taking A&M. But as you guys remember from my last over that I bet in last week's show, I had Notre Dame season over. I had them making the playoff. So yeah, like you said, I'm very, very nervous about the inexperienced offensive line going into Kyle Field, which is arguably one of the loudest stadiums in the country. And also Marcus Freeman shitting his pants in big games also is a little concerning to me. But other than that, yeah, I'm high on the Irish. I'm giving you plenty of reasons to take A&M here, but I think Riley, Leonard, and Jeremiah Love, the running back, make some plays. It's gonna be a close game, obviously, so I'll take the 3 points in a tough defensive battle. I'm also gonna be on the under. I give the edge to Notre Dame's defense here. I think they arguably have probably one of the best 1 or 2 defenses in the country. And I was told, I heard some reports coming out of South Bend that defensive lineman Mike Helfont walked into Marcus Freeman's office this week and laid down his jersey to give Rudy the start. So I'm on the Irish. Also, I heard I did see another stat that goes against my point here of taking Notre Dame. Riley Leonard is 4-6 as a starter on the road at Duke. Average crowd size that he's played in front of on the road, 36,000. He's going to be playing in about 100 in front of 105,000 here. That does scare me a little bit, like I said, but I think Notre Dame's a better team. I think they've got a great defense. Defense always travels, so give me the Irish +3.
Let me give you another stat that should scare you. Marcus Freeman's record on the road, 5-4. Not good for a team that's typically ranked pretty high. 5-4 on the road. I am worried about Connor Wegman, right? Wegman. Connor Wegman, quarterback at A&M. He's been hurt the last 2 years. Doesn't get a lot of snaps, and he also doesn't have a marquee win. I think his best win is unfortunately to Tyler's LSU Tigers back in 2022. So the guy can't win in big games. So I'm hoping this might be his first. I'm taking A&M. Trout, what's the best line I can get on A&M?
-3.
And I want the hook, but I'll take A&M -3. I think.
Let's see if we can see what it.
I bet you can buy the. I bet you get it at -120.
Let's see. It is. What'd you want it at? 2.5. There's nothing.
Yeah.
You can get it. It's. I mean, hold on. Did the line move?
Great.
The line may have moved big time.
No, it's at -2 here. -3.5.
-3. Well, because it's saying
-2.5 is -130.
Right on the dot, baby. Right on the dot.
-125 on ESPN bets.
I'll take.
Sorry, I was on alternate line and it only dropped it to -0.5. I'm like, wait, where's the?
So yeah, due to like Tyler said, the youth on the O line, I'm putting a little trust in the new offense at A&M. I think home field advantage is going to be a major factor in this game. So give me A&M, and I'm also going to take the under. Sticking to the under train this week.
Marcus Freeman didn't beat Ohio State. Didn't beat Louisville. Doesn't beat a whole lot of teams.
Especially on the road.
Riley Leonard, Duke quarterback. Mike Elko, Duke head coach last year. A lot of weird connections happening in this game. Notre Dame only brings back nine players, both sides of the ball. A&M 12, 4 on the defense, 7 on the offense. Those 7 have probably been tainted by Jimbo Fisher, so I wouldn't expect a whole lot out of the offense this year. At least week 1. Nothing matches up. It doesn't match up. Tyler, you okay?
Guy's a wreck, man. He's just itching to get to this LSU pick, man. You just can't sit still. I mean, he's just.
All right. Here we go. Hold on. Nothing is matching up math-wise. You know, A&M comes off of a down year. I know it's A&M, it's the SEC, it's Kyle Field. But to be a 3-point favorite at home over a top 10 ranked Notre Dame team, again, kind of just feels weird. So with that being said, I don't think Riley Leonard has a giant big game, but I do think I almost said Lenowitz. thinking of the game I wanted to talk about down the line. Notre Dame has a big defensive game, so I'll take the under. I'll take Notre Dame +3 and the money line. Biggest difference. Hold on. This is the biggest difference in my 3 years of going to this website to check trends. The biggest difference I've ever seen. Money line bets. 78% of the bets are on A&M. 8% of the money is on A&M. 70% difference of betting.
Those Notre Dame boosters.
I wouldn't have bet Notre Dame money line if it wasn't for that. That's the only reason. Like that just, I don't know. That there's been other ones where I'm like, I don't feel it, and then I don't, and I look at it, I'm like, after, I'm like, oh, well, it was right in front of me. I should have just followed that trend. So this year I'm just following the trend, no matter what. So, all right, Tyler,
Should we have him go second? End it? Kind of like he puts on the hat?
No, we'll just let him lead. We'll lead them all up to it. So we got LSU, USC, Allegiant Field, Las Vegas, Nevada, on Sunday, 6:30 kickoff on ABC. LSU -4, over under. Did I type this? Is it 64.5? Did I type that in right?
Somewhere is even getting up to 68, I thought.
Well, every other game we've done is, I thought maybe I typed it in
64.5.
Yep, 64.5. There we go. Yeah, I just looked too. Over under 64.5. It just shocked me there for a second, especially for the data I have. So, Tyler, go ahead, just break it down, and we'll just give our bets because you're going to break down every aspect anyways.
Yeah, I mean, USC +4 here is my play. And on the money line, I'm taking them. I think it's too many points. Lincoln Riley's top play caller, gets Miller Moss back. Had a great ball game against Louisville. I think LSU does have a significant edge in the offensive line, defensive line battle, returning 4 of the 5 starters, including 2 All-Americans, and Will Campbell and Emory Jones. If they control the game there, the way that they probably want to is getting out running the ball. I think they probably win. If not, USC wins. Whatever team can force more field goals in the red zone is obviously going to have a significant advantage, and I think USC does that. Afterwards, I'll be drowning myself, and someone's going to be carrying me around the Vegas Strip. So yeah, I mean, I think both teams are going to score here. I'm really high. It's a pretty rare game pretty rare in today's college football where you see 2 quarterbacks that have stuck around way of their time and playing in Garrett Nussmeier and Miller Moss. If LSU can get after the cornerback, free up Harold Perkins' first game in number 7 for him, and really free up the secondary here, which is where I think they're going to have to, that's where I'm worried at is the secondary for LSU. I'm not big on the guys that they have returning. So yeah, give me USC here. I don't like it. I don't like that I have to make this bet, but hopefully I'm wrong. So,
well, I can tell you that you're going to be wrong. I think Nussmeier's going to be better. I am a little worried about the wide receiver crew over at LSU. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, hold on. I will correct you if you're wrong.
They lost two first-round wide receivers.
No.
They lost 2 first-round wide receivers. I'm trying to defend your team.
You're saying they're worried about their wide receivers?
Did they not lose 2 first-round wide receivers to the draft?
Yeah. But as the great Nick Saban said on Saturday, you could shake a tree in Louisiana and an All-American wide receiver will fall from it.
Well, we'll see after today, but I'm just saying that is a factor. That 2 LSU, their best 2 wide receivers went to the NFL. So it is something to think about. I think LSU is the better team. I think Miller Moss, I don't know. Just haven't seen him enough for him to really hit my hat towards USC. Obviously, both of these teams have horrible defenses last year. And the total number reflects that. But really, the number being so high, even if both teams get a punt here or there, it's going to be pretty hard to cover that over. So I'm taking the under, taking LSU -4. One thing that I heard, now with the new play calls, I think a lot of teams can slow things down. I think teams can, hear out plays. They can more think about it. I think that could slow down the pace of games. There's more of the headphone calls. You'd think it'd be more efficient that teams would go quicker, but I think you could kind of slow down versus just rushing to the line once you see the picks coming from the sideline or the plays coming from the sideline. So I'm going with the under 64.5. I thought I could see a number that was higher than that, but if that's the best I can get, I'll take the under and LSU -4.
Ryan Kelly and his family are 0-2 at LSU in season opener. He is 2-6 in his career of legitimate season opening games when it comes down to Notre Dame, LSU playing real Power 5 contending teams. Blake Baker, year 1 as a defensive coordinator at LSU. A lot of talent But as we saw at Mizzou, year one, I think he might struggle with actual play calls in week one, like adjusting to it all, talent and where guys need to be. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot that LSU lost last year when it comes to Jaden Daniels and Neighbors and everybody else. That being said, I'll take the over 64.5 points, and I'll take LSU or UC.
He'll take USC.
USC +4, but I'm not touching the money line. I think Brian Kelly can squeak one out like he did against Alabama a couple years ago, maybe on a 2-point conversion to win the game. But I only take USC because it's +4. Like, I could see this being a high-scoring 3-point game.
Yeah,
because that's what holds people's attention in Vegas.
I don't understand why so many people are down on USC this year.
Well, they can't stop anybody. That's why I took the over.
They stopped tackling. They didn't even practice tackling at the end of the. It was embarrassing how bad they couldn't tackle last year.
But it doesn't matter who it is. Lincoln Riley does not know how to hire a defensive coordinator that can actually have defense.
They got a good defensive coordinator this year. The guy from UCLA comes over, so I mean it's a big upgrade from where they. I mean Alex Grinch was fucking awful. I don't know why he kept him around. So yeah, I mean it's really going to come down to who can get stops in the red zone. I think both teams are going to score. I mean we'll see. I hope this bet loses. I hope it loses.
I just think with the LSU offensive line, I feel like your boy Nussmeier is going to have time to make plays. That's going to be a huge difference. Yeah. I don't know. But how miserable is this guy going to be in Vegas where he's going against his team and he's taking an under? That's the complete opposite that you're supposed to do when you got boots on the ground. You take your team, you take the over.
Adam.
This guy's just emotional hedging over here, and I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I didn't take I didn't take the under.
Emotional risk.
I got
he didn't take the under. You took the
under.
We're
going to be sitting here cheering for the under.
Emotional
and this guy's going to...
Emotional risk management. That's what he's doing.
We're going to have boots on the ground, and this guy's going to be cheering for the other team.
No, I'm not cheering for the other team. I'm cheering for my bet to lose.
So. The other thing I thought about doing, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, is I just kind of thought about taking both USC and LSU team totals over, but you don't need to. Exactly. Yeah. So that's those games. Adam, your lock of the week. You can go anywhere. This is leg one of the Mama Campese's Combo Platter Parlay.
I'm glad I get to start. And, I do hate these guys, but I'm not taking this bet because I hate these guys. I just don't think they're any good. I'm going with Florida Atlantic. They're returning a ton of starters. They're getting 14 points at Sparty. Tom Herman can cover his spread. I think it's an easy lock. Sparty to open up the season's never good. Florida Atlantic +14. Lock it.
Tyler.
My game's on Friday night.
Friday night game. Okay. So is Adams.
Stanford +9.5. A lot of plus plays. Stanford's returning 18 starters this year under second-year head coach Troy Taylor, specifically with 10 back on the offensive side of the ball. TCU is returning 16 starters, but only one on the offensive line. Their QB's back from a back injury. I just like this spot with Stanford here, and I think it's just way too many points. I think Stanford's going to score. So give me Stanford +9.5 against TCU.
Okay.
So that's why you don't want to get dinner in Vegas Friday night. Got to be watching the Stanford Cardinals.
That'll be all over.
We got dinner reservations at 8:45.
Apparently the restaurant. Yeah, apparently the restaurant we're going to is not they're not Stanford Cardinal fans, so maybe tough to tune in, but we'll make it happen one way or another. We'll make sure we're dialed in for that game.
I think in my mind the easiest bet in the world is on Thursday, August 29th
Don't
at
do it.
7 p.m. on the SEC network in Columbia, Missouri. There's just no way, unless they're really going to try to push Luther Burden for the Heisman, there's no way Mizzou's covering 46.5 points. They're not going to put enough stuff on tape. They could win 40-10. They could win 40-7, and they don't cover 46.5
I was not
points.
expecting this.
I like that.
I mean,
I like
again,
that.
it's 46.5. We're talking 36.5, probably the other way. Like, they have a lot of, their whole secondary's new, whether it's transfers or guys that didn't play a whole lot with experience. Their defensive line isn't going to be, I shouldn't say isn't going to be good. We don't know if it's going to be good. They lost a lot on that. They lost a lot in the linebacker core. I mean, even if Missouri scores 55 and they give up 14, 17, 46.5 points is a lot to cover. So I will take Murray State plus 46.5.
Is anybody worried that we got 3+ plays?
That's a lot. I mean, I'm a little worried on Tyler's because Stanford over/under on their win total is like 3.5, and I don't know, could be decent again this year. But
yeah,
I was just surprised Tyler went there.
I'm feeling confident, guys.
I thought Tyler was going to be I thought Tyler was going to find a game along the lines with me.
No, I like Murray State. I like Murray State. So that was one of my bets as well. So you can mark that down for me as well as a bet.
All right, let's get back to the pot. All right, we'll open it up to other picks on the card. So Tyler, rattle off a couple that you got out there, and then we'll go to Adam, and then I'll throw out a couple, and then if we got anything we want to add late, we'll just add it late, and we'll get it all on the graphic. So
yep.
Go ahead, Tyler.
I'm going to take the over 48 in Charlotte JMU. Big time injury bug coming out of camp for Charlotte. Big Poggi said they are nearly down 50% of their starters. I don't really want to lay the 7 with JMU after head coach left and took JMU to basically Bloomington. But I think we're going to get some points here. I'm also going to take the under 45.5, I think it was maybe, of Michigan and Fresno State. Michigan's going to have a great D. But I'm going to need to see something out of that offense. I don't know if Fresno State's really going to score on them. Also, I'm going to take Jacksonville State minus 2.5. They're the second highest rated team in Conference USA, according to Phil Steele. They're only returning 9 stars as a team, but I think they're a lot deeper than Coastal Carolina as a team. Coastal Carolina is also without Grayson McCall as he transferred, so I'm looking for a little Coastal Carolina pullback. You obviously already have my Stanford pick. And I'm going to take UNLV plus 3 as well.
I like that pick. I got that one.
This is more of a play also. I'm really high on Barry Odom. Could see him back in Fayetteville if things if he has a good year there.
I would love that just to see Fayetteville explode when he sucks again as a head coach in a big Power 5. Power 4 now.
But this is also a play against Willie Fritz. Willie Fritz is a good head coach, but he's had big roster turnover there at Houston. He struggled always in his first few years at his new school. He'll eventually get it going, but that's my primary reason I'm taking UNLV there in the points. I'm taking North Dakota State and the points against Colorado. Could be wrong here, but there's a ton of money all over Colorado. I hate how he's running the program there. Obviously, he's got the 2 big players in Shedeur and Travis Hunter. It's kind of surprising. I thought he was going to, retain a lot of the players that he got out of the portal and really focus on developing them, but he didn't really do that. I did see a little nugget here you guys will like in terms of North Dakota State. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up here for you. A little nugget here on Thursday night. The FCS level doesn't allow helmet communications from their teams, but they're allowed to have it whenever they play an FBS team. So that would depend if North Dakota State wanted to make the investment and add it into their helmets. They did. They invested. They're going to slow this game down. These are 2 completely different teams here. Just too many points. So I'm taking North Dakota State. Obviously, Charlie, I also liked Murray State. In my last play for right now, is it possible to add more? Can I send them to you via text if I need to add more? Okay.
Yeah, Yeah.
I'm taking the over 54 in UCLA and Hawaii. Hawaii did not look very good on defense last week against a very, very bad Delaware State team. I think UCLA is going to be able to move the ball, and I think Hawaii is going to be able to move the ball a little bit as well. UCLA obviously lost their defense coordinator to USC, so I think they might take a little bit step back on defense. So over 54 in UCLA and Hawaii.
I'll be a little quicker. I'm just going to add 2 games to my additional card. One's going to be at for the alma mater at Lindenwood. I am going to take Kansas Lindenwood over. I think I have it at 58.5 if that's right. But really, anything under 60, I'm taking the over at. Kansas might score 60 on its own, and I think Lindenwood could maybe score between 7 and 10 points. So anything around there, as long as Kansas shows up, Lindenwood might score late on their backups, third strings. So I'm taking on the over Kansas Lindenwood. And then I kind of teased this at the beginning of the pod, but I think Georgia Tech has a little letdown. Maybe not enough for Georgia State to win outright, but Georgia State's going to cover over Tech in a letdown game.
All right, so on my card, I got Lindenwood plus 45.5.
Add that one to me too. Add Lindenwood to me plus 45.
And the under of 58.5. It's Kansas. I'll never root for them, so I think their offense is going to suck, even if it doesn't. I don't think they can put up with that. And then 45 is just a lot. Tyler, I'm with you with North Dakota State at Colorado plus 10. With you, UNLV, and give me the money line too, outright plus and the points. I'll take both bets. Other ones that nobody's talked about just yet. Give me Eastern Illinois plus 28.5 at Illinois. Give me Temple plus 42.5 at Oklahoma. Give me Texas minus 32.5 or minus 32 versus Colorado State. Give me Georgia State plus 20.5 at Georgia Tech. Big letdown game after the win over and across the pond. Give me probably the highest team I'm on with the base of returners. Give me Virginia Tech minus 13.5 at Vandy. Give me Miami, Ohio to win on the money line at the high school stadium that Northwestern is playing at this year because they're renovating their real stadium. I don't know if anybody's seen that. They just rolled in bleachers to the practice facility for a couple weeks. And then give me plus 20.5 Fresno State at the Big House. Too much week 1 to overcome from last year. I'm not saying they're going to beat them. This ain't an App State situation. But 20.5 is quite a lot for everything that Michigan lost last year. Oh, and I forgot this one because I wrote it off the side. Give me Akron plus 48.5 at the Horseshoe.
Go Zips.
Ohio State. I just think 48.5 is a lot to cover.
That's
and I always remember in my life, I've always bet Ohio State to cover that because it feels like they're the school that always covers it, and it always loses. Always. So.
Good
The
stuff,
only thing
boys.
I want to add, this was on ESPN yesterday. Georgia coach Kirby Smart isn't ready to say whether Florida transfer Trevor Etienne will be available to play on Saturday's home opener versus Clemson. Skipping that on.
Yeah, Robinson's out, so I think they're trying to figure out if they can.
Again, I'm on Georgia, but
that'd
be bad if he doesn't play. Just another nugget.
Running back to the most overrated position in
Maybe the
football now.
NFL, but I would disagree in college.
Not when you're Georgia, though. Not when you play pro style like Georgia. Thanks again to Mama's on the Hill, our sponsor. Go down, get yourself a chicken pie.
Yep. Take these winnings we're about to give you and go buy yourself a Mama's combo.
Combo parlay would pay $538.19 if it hits.
You can buy a lot of Mama's combos. Just rolled out a new item in the menu. Shrimp and clam risotto looked fantastic. So
Maybe a couple Peronis to wash it down.
Yep.